Hello guys, Greg back with another video on the channel that is all killer, no filler. Sorry it's been such a long time. I did make kind of a false dawn of a comeback and said that I'd be doing a video every week and it never happened, but I really am going to make an effort now to try and get at least a video out every week. Apologies if you hear any banging and crashing in the background. We're having some building work done. I'm not sure if it's going to come out in the video, but apologies if it does. So today I'm doing my top 10 designer fragrances for winter 2019. Basically it's January and February 2019 really. I'm a bit late to the party with this one. It was supposed to be done as an autumn winter list around sort of October time 2018. So some of the fragrances in this list are suited to autumn as well as winter. But we'll get into it. I never split niche and designer lists, but this year I'm going to do that because I've got quite a lot I wanted to feature. So this is the designer list. We'll jump straight into it. The first one I've got here, number 10, it's from a house that I probably only really liked one fragrance from ever, until now that is, and this is Azzaro Wanted by Night. Now this is a really excellent mix of tobacco, cedar and cinnamon. It retains a bit of the freshness that you find in the original Azzaro Wanted. It's got, at the top it's got some lemon and some mandarin that's kind of retained, as I say, from the original. But this one's an oriental, woody, spicy fragrance. It's dominated by that tobacco, cedar and cinnamon that I mentioned. It's quite a young fragrance. I'm 42 and I quite happily wear this. It's not sort of like 1 million or Versace Eros that's really targeted at younger guys, but this does lean a little bit towards a younger crowd, so just be aware of that. So that's number 10, Azzaro Wanted. Number 9, maybe the best value fragrance that I've ever come across, actually. No stranger to Fragcom. Lalique's Encre Noire. I think this is amazing, this fragrance. Encre Noire translates as black ink, and it is a very dark, dry, inky vetiver scent. It's very similar to Chanel Sycamore, but it's a fraction of the cost. This one's £25 for 100ml in the UK. There's literally no freshness at all in this fragrance. You could say it's kind of a miserable, macabre type of fragrance, but strangely it actually cheers me up when I wear it. So maybe I'm just a bit weird, I'm not sure. Next up, one that's recently changed its name. This is Gucci pour Homme. Not to be confused with the original discontinued Gucci pour Homme fragrance. This one used to be called Gucci by Gucci pour Homme, so you can see why it needed a name change. But it's an underrated one, this one. Performance isn't good, which is probably why it doesn't get talked about, but the smell is superb. It's a very warm, comforting tobacco and violet scent. It's classified as a chypre, and it has got that cypress note in there, but don't expect it to smell like a traditional chypre type fragrance, because it really doesn't. Number 7. Now another one which doesn't have great performance. If this had better performance, I think it'd be far more popular. It's a fragrance you always find discounted. I put that down to the fact that the brand isn't really known very much by the average person in terms of, around fragrances, and therefore the products don't really sell at retail and they end up in bargain basement sort of baskets and that type of thing. But this is the original John Varvatos by John Varvatos. It's a leather plum, cinnamon and fig fragrance. I'm not a massive fan of fig, but I don't really get that traditional fig type of note that you get in most fragrances that contain fig. There's something magical in here. I don't know what it is, but it's one of the best designer fragrances that certainly one of the best that I've come across. Even at the cheap price point, regardless of price, I would still say it's one of my favourite designers of all time. Number 6, we've got a Chanel fragrance. Quite a polarising one, this one. This is Égoïste. I've got a full review on this one if you want to go and check that out. It's one of the very first reviews I did back in, must have been 2013. But it's a very daring fragrance for a designer. It's got a little bit of dirtiness in this. But it's a great sandalwood, vanilla and cinnamon combo. Lots of other things going on in here, but there's too much to describe in a snapshot on a top 10 video. So go and check out my full review if you want to find out more. And that is Chanel's Égoïste. Number 5. Now, I've spoken about this one quite often. It's a fragrance that's got lots and lots of development, which a fragrance really should do. And this is from Hermès, and it's called Rocabar. So the label's rubbed off a bit there. This is a vintage bottle. Now, Rocabar has got a very very coniferous feel to it. It's got that pine needle type of smell. It's also got vanilla and lots of woods, but this is actually, well, I'm trying to think, yeah, this is my favourite fragrance ever done by Hermès. They've done a lot more commercially successful, a lot that are much better known, but that's my favourite that they've ever come out with. Number 4. Now this is a really impressive fragrance from a designer house. It's got that feel of niche about it. It's certainly doesn't certainly doesn't smell mainstream anyway. It's from Issey Miyake, and this one is called L'Eau d'Issey pour Homme Noir Ambré. Now it's the quality of this is reflected in the price. So this is £91 for 100 ml in the UK, whereas the original L'Eau d'Issey is £63 for 125 ml. So quite a big difference, but this is worth every penny in my opinion. If this had Serjoff written on it, people would pay double the price, I think. It's a very oriental amber fragrance. It's got very detectable notes of suede leather, saffron and cinnamon. Never smelt a fragrance that resembles this one really, and I've smelt lots and lots. This is pretty unique, but definitely worth getting your nose on if you haven't already. Give it a try. That is L'Eau d'Issey pour Homme Noir Ambre. Now the next one. Now this isn't my favourite fragrance ever, but it's my favourite fragrance at this moment in time. I love wearing this more than anything else at the moment. Sadly discontinued. This is Yves Saint Laurent's Pour Homme Haute Concentration, or Haute, or however you want to say it. It's a flanker to the original 1971 YSL Pour Homme. This one came out in 1983. It's supposed to be an intense version of the original, but it's actually quite different. It's not really a winter type of fragrance, even though it's on this list. But the performance is good on this, so it can fight through the cold. And I just really like this so much that I want to wear it all year round. Now I'm going to compare this to the original one. YSL Pour Homme was more of a lavender-based fragrance. This one doesn't have that strong lavender note. What you get in here is lots of lemon, lots of herbs, lots of woods. It's a very classic gentleman cologne sort of type fragrance. It's in the same realm as Dior's Eau Sauvage, Chanel Pour Monsieur, Armani Eau Pour Homme, that type of fragrance, that aromatic citrus with a woody base. But if you want to get hold of this one, you're going to have to look on eBay, but it's worth checking out. It's a really, really great fragrance. 2 to go. Number 2. Always one of my most worn fragrances in sort of the winter months, the autumn months. It's got a Christmas type of feel to me. This is Thierry Mugler's Amen Pure Van. And I've always described this one as having like a warm, cosy, sitting by a fire in a warm jumper type of feel around it. It's got that very distinctive Amen DNA. It's got the cocoa and patchouli core. But this one smells like cherry tobacco, honey and vanilla. It's in my top 20, maybe top 10 even, favourite fragrances of all time. And along with Mugler Cologne, it's definitely my favourite fragrance from the Thierry Mugler house. So, number 1 designer for fragrance for winter 2019. The greatest fragrance of all time. It's been around for 30 years. If you don't know it by now, you probably never will. The King, Dior Fahrenheit. Much loved, much hated. This one's got a very talked about petroleum accord in here. There's no middle ground on it. Probably about 50% of the people I know love it, 50% of the people hate it. Luckily for me, I adore it. I think it's an absolute masterpiece. And for probably 7 years, 8 years now, this has been my favourite fragrance, bar none. Dior's Fahrenheit. So there you go, guys. That's my top 10 designer fragrances for winter 2019. Thanks for watching. Remember, you can purchase fragrance samples, probably around 500 I've got now on my online store. It's fragrancesamplesuk.com. If you're outside of the UK, you can email us to discuss orders. We can ship worldwide. Hopefully within the next 2 weeks we will launch European fast shipping via the website. So if you're in Europe, you won't have to do the email route. You can just order it directly from the website. But keep an eye out for that. So thanks again for watching, guys. We'll be back soon with my niche list. I've got quite a few other videos coming out in the next couple of weeks. See you all soon. Cheers.